Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Dave Gibbs joins us. He runs Repair the Vote here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This summer, all roads lead to Tamarack Casino for trucks or bucks. Win up to $5,000 in cash every week. Buckle up and win a brand new Tundra or up to $45,000 in cash. Shift the winning and your good times into high gear at Tamarack Casino.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always pleased to welcome back to the program Dave Gibbs. He heads up Repair the Vote. It is a pleasure to have you back on the program, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here again, Sam.
I want to throw a couple of news things at you from this morning. Abu El Sayed wins Michigan State Senate primary. Your thoughts on that and what that does for the Democratic Party?
Well, I think there's a distinct, a significantly better opportunity to flip that state. I think I've heard the man. He talks a good line, just like an awful lot of the other socialists and the hardcore lefty progressive Democrats do. But a lot of when you really get down into it and listen to what he says and look at the things that he says he's going to do or wants to do, I think a lot of folks in Michigan are going to take another look and see. Plus the fact that there have been some issues between the Arab community and the Black American community there and the Hispanic community there. And so not really sure where the support's going to be for him from those communities in Michigan.
And of course, as always, there's a huge difference between what happens in a primary and what happens in a general.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there was a poll that I saw a couple of days ago, even before the primary, that showed Rogers with a lead over Said. Now that the primary is over and people have made their decision, we'll see what those who voted for Stevens, I think that was her name, was his opponent in the primary, what they do now that it's there.
And then the headline from the New York Times this morning, Pasta's Senate primary win gives Democrats a ray of hope in deep red Kansas. This is the Reverend Adam Hamilton. You think that Kansas is on the tipping point here?
Well, I remember right, they have a Democrat governor right now, if I remember right.
I don't know. You may be right.
I don't know. And I don't know. And I haven't seen anything. I haven't really looked at that race, so I can't make a comment on it. Would it be a surprise if a Democrat won a Kansas race? Yes, but like I said, I think they have a Democrat governor, and so a Democrat has won statewide.
Let's talk about fiscal responsibility.
Okay.
Because, when people are walking around thinking about going out to lunch and it's $20 for a sandwich, a lot of people are bringing sack lunches from home now because they can't afford to go out for lunch. New York Times, again, was writing a story the other day about the cost of dating, and that to go out in New York City for dinner, you're talking about $130 per person for dinner. That's kind of affecting dating life for young people in New York City. I remember interviewing Harry Reid probably 8 years ago at his office at the Bellagio, where he said to me, "We have reached the tipping point with the debt." And I said to him, "I've been hearing that my whole time in political coverage, and I've never seen it. I mean, I just don't see the effects." He said, "We're there." Well, now we're seeing the effects, because everything from gasoline to the cost of housing, the list goes on. And the fiscal responsibility for both parties just isn't there.
That is a problem.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, and it's one of those where you don't see the obvious impact, I believe, but it's there at our level. Interest rates are higher, cost of doing business is higher, and some of that does fall back on the fact that we've got deficits and debt that are just, there doesn't seem to be a significant interest in doing anything about it. I think everybody recognizes that choices are difficult, that reaching a compromise situation between not only the parties but the two houses of Congress is a challenge that I don't know that they're willing to face. You know, there's I don't know where I read it, but some time ago I read some phrases: legislature will never solve a problem until its crisis arrives. And so everybody knows there's a problem, but is it a crisis yet?
Yeah, it's a crisis.
Well,
ask a young couple who are trying to buy a house, trying to save up to buy a house. Where are they going to get the money for the deposit unless the parents and grandparents are chipping in? And even then, when the average American doesn't have $500 for a car repair.
Yeah. So there's, you know, and that's part of the thing that I think a lot of us who are involved in this, or even, you know, every citizen in this country needs to sit there and go, "Hey, Congressman, hey, Senator, you know, when are you going to do something about this?" Because everybody talks about it, but, you know, I haven't seen anybody do anything about it on either party. And it's unfortunate, because it is something that on the conservative side of the House, it is something that there have been some strides made to try and work on efficiencies in government, going out looking for all this fraud that it is existing in Medicaid, Medicare, and some of the other programs that are out there. And so, you know, there's been some, you know, some emphasis, newfound emphasis put on this. And hopefully that will lead them to continue looking at, okay, where else can we do something? Talking about, the Department of Education. What can we do about that and save the money off the Department of Education?
That's been going on since the Reagan administration, Dave.
But there's actually been things done about it this time. You know, with you know, President Trump has actually done some things about it with reducing the size of the Department of Education. You know, and I can't remember the article I read or saw a headline recently that talked about X number of fewer federal workers and X $billion saved in personnel costs. And I don't remember the number, but so, you know, there is some recognition, whether it's from a fiscal perspective or from the aspect of there's just too many people in Washington. Doesn't matter, the outcome is the same. If you reduce the size of government, theoretically, you reduce the amount of money that's being spent on it.
Well, that's always the vote in favor of a government shutdown, is the longer they're out of office, the more money it saves the public.
Yeah, but they always.
I'm joking, of course.
Well, yes. They all get back pay after they get back into work. They all get back pay, and a lot of the other expenses
I was thinking about more what they're voting for. That's going to cost us money. Okay, interest rates. Aren't interest, you know, you and I have been around a while. Aren't interest rates right about where they should be? Because we saw these near zero interest rates, but that was because we were going through crises. That is not normal. In fact, higher interest rates are more normal than the interest rates we have now. And the federal government, with the amount of debt that we have, they're sucking up so much of the money that will be available for loaning. So, and the extra part of this is that senior citizens who have saved all their lives for retirement, if you drop the interest rates, they're the ones getting screwed.
There's, you're right. I mean, I remember when I bought my first house back 40 something years ago. I got a 9% interest rate, and everybody thought I got a great deal.
You got a deal, right?
I got a deal. And, and then, yes, we went down to what we had for all those years. And, right now I think it's around 6%, somewhere in that. I don't know what the latest number is. I know that they just voted recently to hold the rate steady.
Yes.
So, I'd like to see, everybody would like to see it lower. There was some discussion about the rates that have happened being artificially constrained. And now the market is having a little bit more say in the matter. And I think that's a good thing overall. Obviously, it hurts. I mean, like I said, I remember, buying houses and looking at how much I was paying in interest every month when my mortgage payments, and
right. But I mean, it's not the
going through that.
Right, but it's not the interest rate that's the problem. It's the cost of housing that's the problem.
Well,
and I'm not blaming the builders for that.
No.
I'm just saying that if the $200,000 house that you and I bought 40 years ago is now $1 million something, the kids can't afford that.
And there's two parts about it. Number one is there's the supply and demand part of it. In Las Vegas, for example, there's a lot of folks moving in, and I understand up in Reno there's a lot of folks moving to Reno. So you have significantly increased the demand, but has the supply been able to keep pace with that demand? That's part of the issue. Both in the state, when the federal government owns 85% of the land, a lot of it's not available to do anything with. So you don't have somebody sitting there going, okay, I'm going to sell my land and build more, so we can build more houses, and I'll take the profit from it. I know that the Hughes Corporation just sold a couple of plots down in Summerlin where they're going to build houses. Part of it is also that a lot of folks, the standard of living has changed. And what constitutes a starter home for when maybe you and I were younger, it doesn't meet what younger families today are looking for. I mean, I remember I grew up in a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. 2-bedroom houses with 1 bathroom, people look at you and go, wow, I don't want anything like, we didn't have a garage. Finding a house without a garage is extremely difficult. So you've got a garage, you've probably got a 3-bedroom house. You've got more square footage than we probably had. And so those things they're all issues in the cost of a house as well. And people's expectations are higher. The standard of living is increased, and so their expectations are higher. And
well, yeah,
that has an impact on it as well. So the builders aren't going to build houses that aren't going to get sold.
Well, when you were a kid,
yeah,
there was 1 telephone in the house, and it had a wire on it.
Yeah.
And you pulled it into the hallway to be able to have a private conversation.
Yeah.
You had 1 television.
Yep.
And yes, the expectations have changed dramatically, and they're not going back.
No, they're not. But there's a cost to some. I mean, it's like cell phones. We used to pay $40-$50 for a cell phone. People don't even think about the fact that they're dropping $800, $1,000 on a cell phone now.
Yeah, wait till the new phones come out.
That cell phone is significantly more capable than what you got 30 years ago, but there's a cost associated with that.
But at least
people are paying more for their cell phones than they pay for a laptop computer.
But at least you don't have to buy an Encyclopedia Britannica anymore.
Well, there is that.
Let's take a break. More with Dave Gibbs when we come back.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses. If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates. The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. Our community is our foundation. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
Aaron Ford says he was a teacher.
I taught middle school math.
Here's some math.
Ford took over 420 days of vacation
while we showed up for work.
That's more than a year of paid vacation.
While he was jetting off to Paris,
Martha's Vineyard, and Cabo,
we were here.
We were here.
We were here teaching.
You know who else was here?
Joe Lombardo. For kids, families, and teachers.
He shows up every time.
And teachers are going to show up for Joe Lombardo every time.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Dave Gibbs, who runs Repair the Vote. Okay, for those that are not aware, please explain what Repair the Vote is.
Repair the Vote is a political action committee that was created to do one thing, to get voter ID on the ballot, passed, and into the Nevada Constitution. And so far we have got it. Well, we got it on the ballot in 2024 and did very well, 73%. The very first ballot initiative ever in the state of Nevada to get 1 million votes. So very excited about that, but the job's not done. We've got to pass it again this year. It's got to pass twice to get into the Constitution. So it will be on the ballot again. It will still be question 7. The numbers don't change regardless of how many other ballot initiatives there are. It will still be question 7. And so I'm getting out and talking to, here I am talking to you and talking to other places and other folks to encourage people and remind them that they need to get out and vote, and they need to vote yes on question 7.
The pushback to me is amazing. Everything, and we've talked about this before, but for those that may not have heard those previous conversations, I was told at one point by Todd Story when he was running the ACLU that 10% of Nevadans didn't have ID. And it just seems crazy to me that anybody can exist without some form of ID that is a credible ID. Mayor Mondami in New York is requiring ID for people shopping at his grocery stores. I mean, the opposition makes no sense. And you and I have talked about this. I'm not one in favor of paying more taxes, but I will happily add on a couple of bucks to my taxes to make sure that anybody who wants an ID can get an ID in the easiest way possible. So if they want to vote, they can.
Well, you brought up the mayor of New York and Olive Garden with their never-ending pasta pass. You have to now show a photo ID. For the ladies out there who go to Ulta, I don't know if you're familiar with Ulta.
Well, not personally, but my wife shops
there. My wife shops there too, and she called in an order for pickup, and I was out running an errand. She asked me if I could swing by and pick it up, and I walked in, and you have to show a government-issued photo ID to pick up an order at Ulta. It's got to be government-issued. And so when you think about it, it's how many people don't have IDs. I think their 300,000, their 10% number is way out. When it comes to, like you said, this has to deal with citizens registering to vote and voting, and showing an ID when they go to the polls. Legislative Council Bureau, when this issue came up, somebody introduced, I can't remember who it was, introduced legislation back about 6 years ago, and they estimated maybe 20,000 people that do not have a photo ID that would need a photo ID in order to vote. And so that number seems much more logical.
So as you're saying that, it strikes me that if there are 20,000 people, and that's still a lot of people, if they don't have, a form of ID, how did they get to register to vote in the first place? Because they must have had something that got them to be registered to vote.
Can't speak to that. Can't speak to that part of it. And again, it's an estimate. Nobody knows for certain. And at the same time, of those, say there are 20,000 people that don't have an ID, but that doesn't mean those 20,000 people are going to want to vote.
Right. Well, and that's my point
Yeah.
I was about to make, and I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
But, I don't hear a groundswell of people saying, oh my goodness, if you pass this, I won't be able to vote.
And 24 states currently require a photo ID in order to vote. Okay? If somebody did not or was not capable of getting an ID in one of those 24 states, I can guarantee you'd be hearing about it. They'd be starring on MSNBC or MS Now, I guess it is, or CNN. They'd be on the front page of every newspaper in every big city in the country about the fact that I couldn't get an ID.
Hey, they'd be on the front
vote.
page of the Wall Street Journal, too.
Yeah. Yep. So, that aspect of it, when that same argument that the ACLU and the NAACP, Southern Poverty Law Center, all of these organizations have been arguing since this whole issue came up, is that it's going to disenfranchise people. It's going to, minorities are not going to be able to vote, and that has not proven true. In 2021 in Georgia, they passed a voter ID law saying they just, these organizations were all screaming about disenfranchisement. 2022, they had the highest percentage of African-American turnout that they've had ever. So that argument falls on, the argument doesn't hold.
Well,
and everywhere they've raised that, it is not held. So there's no logic behind it. It's just it's a fear-mongering argument.
Well, here's, and I've said this to you before on the program, so this is nothing new to you. I'm perfectly happy with the way the system works in Nevada now.
Okay.
I go and vote, and I sign in, and now they've got an electronic way to be able to match my signature, which amazes me that my signature still looks roughly the same as it was back in 1999 when I became a citizen. I did ask a question about the extra printer that they had put in this time around for the primary, because I said, it's just kind of one more thing that could potentially break down. But the people in the office were very nice, and they explained to me what was going on. But my point is, let's get this done to stop people saying that there's major election fraud, and this will silence that.
Yep.
But at the same time, to all those voter registrars out there, I'm fine with what you're doing right now, but I just want to stop the noise so that people understand that the amount of fraud in Nevada, I don't know about elsewhere, but in the last election cycle, there was one person that got busted for election fraud?
There was one person prosecuted.
Okay, there you go.
Now, whether others were investigated or what investigations came or recommendations, we don't know. There was one person prosecuted.
All right, let's take one more break. We'll be right back with Dave Gibbs after this.
Carson Valley Inn, it's your place for the good times. Carson Valley Inn.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
You're in trouble with the law. It's easy to think you'll lose everything, but there is hope. I'm attorney Orrin Johnson. Your first step is to hire a serious attorney with the experience to successfully navigate the legal system for you.
Sometimes hope means addiction treatment instead of jail, and making sure you're treated fairly.
Sometimes hope means fearless trial attorneys will stand up to the government when they get it wrong. Call or text Orrin Johnson Law.
We'll make a plan.
You'll take back your life.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the air conditioning back on today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why sweat for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your air conditioning fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
We're the Peters family, 2 combat veterans, our daughter Elle, and our Liberty Dogs puppy in training, Cooper.
Cooper will grow up to be a life-changing companion to a veteran with visible or invisible challenges.
We're helping Cooper build focus and confidence so he's ready to support his veteran.
And we know he will help bring happiness and independence to his veteran's life.
So join us, become a puppy raiser, and change lives, one puppy at a time.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Dave Gibbs with Repair the Vote. So what's left to be done here in our remaining minute?
Well, the big thing is people, you got to get out and vote. All right, that's the important thing. In the non-presidential election term, voter turnout has a tendency to be lower historically. So, but it's important to get out and vote yes on 7, so we can, like you say, we can maybe reduce the noise, restore some of the faith that people have lost in our election process. This is one step. And so that's what we're trying to do is to restore that faith.
And I thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to see you. And come by again. I'm sure we'll see you before the election day.
I'll be back in town.
Thank you, sir. And we'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Welcome to the Ahern Hotel, where bold ambition meets unforgettable experiences. Feel your game day vibes and celebrate with great food at All-American Sports Kitchen, serving amazing flavors and fan favorites. Sip and savor at Aroma Barista Bar, handcrafted coffee roasted to perfection. Step into the Ahern Live showroom, where concerts, comedy, and unforgettable performances light up the night. We also have the David Yule Art Gallery. It's the only one in the world, and his work is breathtaking. Browse the gift shop. It's a treasure trove of keepsakes, chic essentials, and one-of-a-kind finds. And the space. Almost 30,000 square feet of meetings and events areas ready for you. From weddings and birthdays to quinceañeras, trade shows, banquets, and beauty pageants. Bigger ideas? Let the Ahern team handle all the details so your event is flawless. Ahern Hotel, where moments become memories. Book your next gathering today.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. If you want to be on our mailing list, go to the website, nevadanewsmakers.com, and sign up. You'll get the guest list in advance every Friday, and on Mondays, a whole list of our new archive shows going back to 2003. We'll see you on the next podcast.